Hi, I'm Parker Powers from American Income Life, a division of Globe. I spoke with you about your benefits through Clayton Slaughter. Is Brett there?
Yes, this is he.
Okay, great. Well, I have your benefits right here. I really love they have me using Zoom. It does make things go by a lot faster. So don't worry, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So let me go ahead and get situated and then we can get started. While I'm getting some things set up, let's learn a little bit about each other. Now, Brett, I know you're dying to know, so let me tell you exactly why I'm visiting with you and what I'm going to do. My job is to go over some of the no-cost benefits that have already been set up for you. Then I'm going to go over some additional benefits that you might qualify for. Now, so you know, my company, American Income, works with over 20,000 different local labor unions, credit unions, and associations throughout the entire United States. And look, either you like unions or you don't, the one thing we can all agree on is that they do provide the best benefits. Now, a big reason for that is because of their relationship with American Income for over 60 plus years. Now, as you can imagine, they do have me running around like crazy. So let's go ahead and get started and jump right into your first no cost benefit. Now, Brett, your first no cost benefit is a child safe ID kit mobile app, which is endorsed by the International Union of Police Associations. Now, I'm sure you know a bunch of families with kids, right?
Right.
Well, did you know that Texas actually leads the nation in abductions? And did you know that 93% of the children that aren't found within the first 24 hours are actually never found?
Wow.
Now, that's why they decided to create the most comprehensive app of its kind to help find a missing child. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the process of how to download this app. It's at no cost to you, and it's extremely simple. Well, now that you have the app downloaded, imagine if your child went missing. Can you see how important this would be? Now, being the endorsed company by the International Union of Police Associations, they're asking you that you refer at least 5 families to this app. Now, you mentioned families with children, and everyone always wants to put down dozens of names. But let's just start with the people who are close with you. What's the first name that comes to mind? Excuse me, that comes to mind, Brett.
Let's put down Tristan Miller
Okay.
and Tiffany Miller.
And Tiffany Miller. And do you have anyone for those other spots?
Let's put down James Dean
Okay.
and William Davis.
William Davis.
And you need one more, right?
Yes, sir. One more.
Put down Chase Smith.
Chase Smith. All right, well, I got all those down. Now, Brett, your next no-cost benefit is the free will and testament kit that you requested. Now, have you had the chance to establish a final will and testament?
We have not.
Well, actually, in the United States, a simple will can cost up to $1,000 or more. Now, of course, this is depending on the complexity of it. Now, the Free Will Kit program partnered with American Income to distribute these kits at no cost to you because of the company's reputation and history of helping families. So let me review the Free Will Kit with you. Now, it's very important that once you get the kit filled out, you follow all the instructions and, of course, keep it in a secure and safe place. Now, Brett, this is a no-cost AL plus discount card. It's actually one of my favorite benefits. Now, how are your benefits through work?
They're okay.
Well, you're absolutely going to love this. I'm sure you know by now that you can't rely on your group benefits since you don't control them, and they, of course, can change at any time. So this no-cost benefit will help with some of those gaps by giving you up to an 85% discount on things like dental, vision, prescription drugs, hearing aids, telemedicine, and chiropractic services. Now, your membership does require an annual renewal, and of course, that's at no cost to you. We'll let you know when it's time to renew. You won't even have to think about it. People always do tell me that they didn't think they'd use it very much, but find themselves using it all the time. Now, again, this is at no cost to you, and it's good to have that extra peace of mind. So what you'll do is you'll receive an activation email in the next couple of days. So make sure you're on the lookout for that.
All right.
Now, Brett, this is a no-cost accidental death and dismemberment certificate. Now, Brett, this is a living benefit that pays you $2,000 for the loss of one hand, one foot, or sight in one eye, and double that amount, or $4,000 for the loss of any two. Now, for your wife, this is a death benefit that would pay you $4,000 should you, Brett, die accidentally. Now, I know that $4,000 does not seem like a lot of money in this world, and truthfully, it's not. But if you were to die, Brett, of course your paycheck would die. And I'd imagine that would put a huge crunch on your budget. Am I wrong? Well, now can you see how this would definitely help you?
I can.
So what I'm going to do is let me go ahead and email you the certificate for your records. You'll receive a green certificate in the mail. You'll want to fill it out completely and send it to the PO box in the top right-hand corner to ensure that you are covered. Now, one more thing, Brett, I need you to do is put 2 emergency contacts on here in the event you and your wife were to die together in a common accident. Now, it would be wise if they live in Texas, are over the age of 18, and of course, living outside of your current home. Who's your first emergency contact?
We'll choose Clem Hernandez.
All right. And your second, Brett?
George Hernandez.
George Hernandez. Now, Brett, when something happens, you are going to need our local office number. You want to grab your phone for me real fast?
Yeah. I got it right here.
Okay. Well, the office number is 832-327-0800. Again, that's 832-327-0800. Now, so your family gets the money they're entitled to, I'm going to be calling your emergency contacts personally. It'll only be me. And now this is so they know what to do in the event of a claim. Now, if you could, please give them a heads up that they'll be hearing from me. In addition, if they do choose, they will have access to this all because of you and your wife, of course, in this policy. Now, Brett, this policy is just on you. But the second part of this benefit is that you can extend this to your closest family members and friends at no cost to you and no cost to them. So let me explain how this works. Let's say, God forbid, you were to die in an accident. A $2,000 policy, just like yours, will pay out to his or her family at no cost to you and no cost to them. All you're doing is giving them the option to take advantage of this, just like you did. Now, the ability to extend this is tied to my visit with you today because of your enrollment period. So it's extremely important not to prejudge anyone's situation and, of course, let them decide on their own. Now, they do give you $20,000 worth of this benefit, which means you can extend it to up to 10 different families. Obviously, your emergency contacts will automatically be included, so they are already taken care of. Now, that leaves you 8 more. You mentioned that you knew families in the area, correct?
Yes.
Well, let's give this to them. What is their first names?
I think I might have 2. Let's use Will Smith.
Will Smith
and Josh Williams.
and Josh Williams. All right. So, Brett, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. Just make sure you give those families to give us when you're extending no-cost benefits. Make sure you give them a call or text. Just letting them know that I'll be calling them personally in the next couple of days. Now, as long as you give them a heads up, they tend to be extremely happy. But of course, if I call them, they don't know who I am, why I'm calling. Sometimes they can get confused and they'll be upset with the both of us. So please, please, please just let them know. Now, Brett, can you make sure of that for me?
Yes, I'll give them a text and maybe a call this afternoon.
All right, great. Now, Brett, now I'm going to jump to reviewing the exclusive benefits that, of course, you must qualify for. All of the families that I see love this part of the program, and it's why 20,000 different groups handpicked American Income to handle their permanent and portable benefits for the past 60+ years. Now, first, Brett, what I'm going to do is let's start with the needs analysis software. Now, the reason most people don't have the right coverage is they don't know what they need. Now, in a few minutes, and after I review this with you, you'll definitely know exactly what you need. Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions to see where you're at. Before I do, let me show you my license information here in the state of Texas, so you know that I'm a licensed professional to handle these kinds of benefits. And before I jump into the survey, I have 3 preliminary questions to review with you. Now, that first one is you must be a member of an authorized group or sponsored in by someone who is.
I work for a union.
All right, great. Now, the second is you must have an active checking account with a bank or credit union.
We do. We have a credit union.
Now, have you or anyone in the household been diagnosed with COVID-19 virus in the past? And if so, when?
No one's had COVID.
All right. Well, now what we're gonna do, Brett, is we're gonna go into some of those final questions. Now, the first one will be college education. Have you started saving for your kids' college education just yet?
We have not just yet.
No, not yet. All right. Now it's on to how much debt aside from the house would you say that you have?
Around 100,000.
Okay. And do you rent or own?
We own.
And what's the balance on the home?
It's probably close to that, around $120,000.
Okay. Do you get death benefits, excuse me, for work?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. Well, I'm very familiar with those and exactly how they work. Now, did they let you handpick them, or did you kind of get what everyone else got?
We kind of just got everything everyone else got.
Okay. Now, I do see lots of families, and some of them with life insurance, they do have it outside of work because you know what happens to those group benefits, right?
Right.
Okay. Do you have life insurance outside of work?
We do.
Okay. That's perfect. How much coverage and how much do you pay for it?
I believe it's around $50 a month.
Okay, and when did you get it, Brett?
Last year.
Okay, well, great. I know exactly what that is. Now, Brett, for you and your wife, I know this isn't a typical dinner time conversation, but have you two decided or even had a chance to discuss if you're going to do a funeral or a cremation?
We have not.
Okay. Now, the biggest concern for families that they deal with is when it comes to handling concerns is, of course, affordability. They have this set up where it comes as a list of concerns. It would be based on around 1 hour's wage per week. Now, to make sure it's accurate, what's a ballpark figure of your monthly income, Brett?
Monthly around $5,000.
Okay. Now, great. Now, before I go any further, it looks like the needs analysis did find some gaps in your current coverage. So I have this mandatory read-off letter for you. Now, it explains how the enrollment process works. Brett, for you and your wife, instead of reading this whole thing, let me just summarize it for you. What it basically is saying that is, as I'm going through the benefits, you're nodding your head, thinking, wow, these are some great benefits, and I can see why 20,000 different groups approved this and why everyone's doing it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for you to apply today. Now, of course, on the flip side, if I'm going through the benefits and you're thinking to yourself, you know, these are some really great benefits, but they don't feel a need for me at the moment. Now, that decision does need to be made today. But of course, I won't make you make that decision. I'm going to ask that you don't apply, of course, if you're not feeling that those needs will meet you. Now, either way, yes or no, that decision does have to be made today, of course. Now, during your service period, in fairness to all the other members waiting to enroll, you'll see what they did and how it's set up to be a no-brainer. It's going to be very easy, and as I mentioned, an easy yes or no. Now, does all that make sense, Brett?
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, whatever you do decide, they do want you to give me your opinion on me in a Google review. Now, this is sort of like my report card. Now, of course, I do try to get 5 stars every time. I hope it's gone well so far. So it's important to stop me if you have any questions. Now, does all that make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right, Brett, will you stop me if you have any questions?
I will.
All right. So, as you know, Brett, over the years, we go through contract negotiations and benefit changes at work. It's give and take, and lately it seems that we are paying, excuse me, a lot more, but getting a lot less. Now, the company has a labor advisory board of 50 international union presidents whose main job is to provide the best wages and benefits for their members. Now, from their feedback, along with the feedback from members just like you, they came up with a list of concerns that apply to working families, whether they're a union or not. Now, let me pull those up real fast for you. Give me one moment. So, Brett, your first list of concern is co-pays, deductibles, and lost wages. Now, health insurance pays for the doctors, but members lose wages due to time off work and out-of-pocket expenses. Now, your second list of concern is funeral and final expenses. Many families don't have $14,000 for final expenses. Funeral homes usually want to get paid right away. Now, the next is paycheck loss. When a member dies, their paycheck, of course, usually dies with them. Now, the next one is mortgage and rent. Now, families may lose their home and after the sudden death of a breadwinner. Now, the next is children's protection. Benefits provided through a job are typically not permanent for children which can create a course of risk. Now, an unexpected death can jeopardize future educational opportunities for your children. And the sixth, terminal illness, especially cancer. Now, according to the American Cancer Society, men have a 1 in 2 lifetime chance of developing or dying from cancer, and for women, it's 1 in 3. And after 65 for women, it goes back down to 1 in 2. Now, medical expenses are the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States. Now, the seventh list of concerns is group benefits. Group benefits are great, but of course now they can change at any time. Members can lose benefits at retirement or if they experience a long illness before death. And now, eighth and the final concern, and the most important, is affordability. Now, to take care of all these concerns, it's usually just way too expensive since we sit down with people making anywhere from $7 an hour and some making 77 plus an hour. Some are working tons of overtime, some are retired or laid off. Now, regardless of the situation, they wanted this to be affordable for everybody. Now, the way that we set this up, Brett, is let's imagine your boss comes up to you at work and tells you that now, because things have been going so well, they could start paying you 41 hours instead of 40. Now, with that hour, are you going to tell me it's time for matching Ferraris?
No.
For you and your wife? Or are you going to tell me a travel agent to, book your dream vacation?
Absolutely not.
Are you going to start construction on your dream home?
Probably not.
Of course not. Now, of course, on the flip side, let's say it works a little slow, and your boss comes up to you and he tells you that instead of laying you off and some of your coworkers, they would just send you home an hour early or so every Friday. Now, so you'd be working 39 hours instead of 40. Now, with that, would you get rid of your car or cell phone?
No.
Cancel your TV subscription?
I hope not.
No, exactly. Now, this is the idea that 1 hour isn't going to change your current lifestyle. That's why this is set up this way. So let me show you how that 1 hour takes care of your concerns. So Brett, it helps if I use an illustration to show you that what's been set up for you. So let's imagine that you go into work tomorrow. Right now, you're both at job A, which is a job here on the left. And with job A, you have your normal benefits. With job A, you're making $14.75 per week. Now, let's say that another job opens, and we'll call this one job B. With job B, you have the same group benefits, same coworkers, same responsibilities, same everything. The only difference is the income. So instead of the $14.75 per week, now you're making $14.35 per week, which is about a 1 hour's wage difference. Now, like you said before, this wouldn't change anything or anything to do to your current lifestyle. So they took that hour that didn't mean much and they decided to put it towards something that would, which is handling these concerns in a very simple and straightforward way. Now, the first benefit, of course, covers your entire family due to any sort of accident. Like I said before, health insurance and group benefits are great, but they don't cover everything. Now, this program pays you up to $100 every time you go into a doctor, urgent care, or hospital for any accident or injury. Now, this is either if it's a bump, a bruise, or even a bee sting. Now, if you end up overnight in the hospital, it'll pay you $200 per day and double that for intensive care, or $400 per day. So let's say you have an accident and end up in the hospital for 5 days. By having this in place, it would pay you $1,000 tax-free. Now, considering that you're not working and making money, this money will help take care of your bills, wouldn't it?
Yes, definitely would.
Well, on top of that, you'll get $10,000 for the loss of one hand, a foot, or sight in one eye, and of course, double that, or $20,000 for the loss of any two. Now, the last part of this benefit provides an additional $20,000 to $100,000 accident death benefit. Now, depending on the type of accident, that's where that range can kind of fall into place. Now, as you can see with your current job, none of this is covered.
All right.
So the next concern will be your final expense benefit or the freedom of choice benefit, which is exclusive to American Income. Now, this has to do with your funeral and final expenses. There's a 100% chance that you'll use this one. The freedom of choice certificate will take care of the financial burden, so your family doesn't have to. The FOC has already been set up with every funeral home. Now, your freedom of choice certificate is worth $30,000. Now, the funeral home director will simply call the number on the front of the certificate, and American Income will take care of absolutely everything for you, including sending the remaining money to your family, of course, tax-free. Now, they are using a permanent benefit to fund your freedom of choice. That way, it's there for when and not if your family ever needs it. Now, for your wife, on the possibly worst day of her life, can you see how this would make things easier for her?
I could definitely see how this would make it easier. Yes.
Now, right now, you have nothing in your current policy in place like this. Now, the next right is income protection. Now, when your wife is dealing with if something happens to you, Brett, she's probably going to miss you, correct?
Correct.
Now, but after a few weeks go by, aside from she missing you, what else do you think she's and your family's going to miss?
Probably my paycheck.
Exactly. So your program will provide a total of $100,000 that pays out for any kind of death to take care of this concern. Now, your wife, this would give her and your children income every month for 3 years, just like if you were still alive. Now, this gives you time to figure out what you're going to do with your life, your job, and any other insurance money. Now, right now, as it stands, you have no monthly income replacement. Now, Brett, this next one is mortgage and, of course, rent protection. Besides your income, the next thing people want secured for their family, of course, is their home, where they live. Now, that's exactly why the benefit software is recommending mortgage or rent protection. Your program includes $100,000 of coverage for your protection. Now, Joe, statistically, if you were to die during your working years, it's probably not going to be a health issue like a stroke or a heart attack. It'd probably be due to an accident. So this is funded by an accidental death benefit to save you money. Right now, your current job, Brett, they aren't going to pay your mortgage when something happens, but of course, this program does and will. So, Brett, this next one, of course, is regarding your children and their college fund. Now, the benefit software found that with your children's future education, this could have a huge benefit. Now, most families I see, they tell me that they want kids and they want their kids to have the option, of course, to go to college and further their education. Now, statistically, the biggest thing that would prevent this is if the kids lost one or even both of their parents, while of course they are still minors. Now, the benefit software is giving you $100,000 for the college fund, which of course breaks down to $50,000 for each of your two children. That's huge, right?
Right.
Well, as you can see, you don't have this one either. Now, Brett, this also includes the child rider, and it is included with a special $10,000 life insurance plan for both of your children, 18 and younger, that qualify. Now, when your children turn 21, they will have the option to convert this to 5 times that amount, or $50,000, a permanent life insurance with no health questions at all. Now, having this in place may be their key to getting coverage later on, when may otherwise not be able to qualify. Now, your current group benefits don't provide anything permanent for your children. Another extremely important feature, of course, Brett, is the terminal illness rider. Now, this program and portion of it is that if you are diagnosed with a terminal illness, such as cancer, you can access half of your freedom of choice, which we discussed earlier, an income protection benefit while you're still alive. Now, they are providing you with $65,000 for this fund. Now, Brett, for you and your wife, this gives you the chance to put your family in the best situation financially if you could get the worst news imaginable. Now, the remainder of the benefit, of course, will be payout to your family as a death benefit. Now, your current benefits don't provide anything there. As you can see, though, American Income has actually thought of pretty much everything. Now, unlike your group benefits, which you can lose, these benefits, they're permanent and they're portable. So if you leave your job, you retire, or you decide to leave the union, you keep these. Now, in addition, if you are qualified, layoff, they will cover the benefits for you for 3 months. If you're ever in a situation where you have a qualified strike, it's up to 12 months. Now, this way, you and your family won't lose the benefits when you truly and really need them the most. By the way, you never have to pay them back. Now, Brett, for you and your wife, now that I've reviewed everything with you guys, I'm sure you can see why 20,000 different groups chose this program above all others. And that's why more families have our program than any other companies. Now, because of the value and the full circle of protection it provides. I mean, Brett, if something were to happen to you, like let's say, God forbid, a bad car accident, your family will receive $370,000 tax-free, all for about 1 hour's wage per week more. Now, with your current job, there's no guarantee that your family will receive anything at all. So, Brett, for you and your wife, if you went into work tomorrow and you had a choice between what we discussed earlier, job A or job B, which one would you take?
Definitely job B for the benefits.
Now, why would you do that, Brett, if you're making more money over here at job A? Because of those benefits, right?
Right.
Well, that's what everyone says. It's an absolute no-brainer. Now, Brett, so everyone wants the benefits, but not everyone, of course, can receive the benefits. So as I mentioned before, I do have to see if you can qualify. Now, so let me run through some of these questions with you, and let's see if you can. But okay, Brett, I'm not an underwriter, but based on what I'm seeing so far, it does look like I should be able to get you qualified for these benefits. Now, what I'm showing you is the QR checklist, which is a mandatory checklist that we have to review with all of our members. Now, it explains the enrollment process as well. Now, the first thing the checklist talks about is the way benefits are handled. Now, Brett, now that I've explained this to you and your wife, almost everyone takes advantage of this program, just like you, because of the value. And the cost is very small compared to the many benefits that are provided. Now, it is very rare, but sometimes a member cancels. It could be a week, it could be a month, or even a few years later. Now, we end up seeing these same people the next service period, which tends to be 2 or sometimes 3 years later. And they're upset because they're no further ahead than where they were. Most people end up wanting to reapply for the same benefits. Now, the problem is that now the program is more expensive, of course, because they're older. Worse yet, some people can't even get into it anymore because their health has changed. Now, the point of this is not a short-term fix, but it's a long-term solution for you and your family. And the longer you're into the program, of course, the more valuable that it is. So if this $130 a month is uncomfortable for you right now, let's fix it while I'm here. That's my job. I want to make this as simple as possible for you. Now, Brett, for you and your wife, how is everything feeling so far?
It's feeling pretty good so far.
And is that $130 a month kind of right around where you're feeling? We can always adjust.
I think we can start there.
All right, well, great. Then please make sure to keep this important program in place for you and your family. And Brett, the next time I see you, you'll be really happy that you did it.
All right. Thank you, Parker.